Spoiler alert, we're unpacking the whole plot, twist by twist. If you're spoiler sensitive, hit pause and come back when your TBR list catches up. Cheers!
I'm Gabby,
I'm Miranda. Welcome to Marginally Unwell.
where we read books that are way more interesting than our actual lives.
We love that.
Week, we read a book about a boy and a girl. She got dumped, he got dumped. So naturally they became roommates, thought they were going to be sad together, and did not expect falling in love over snacks and snark.
Snacks and snark. I like that. They were good.
The book we read was...
Can you guess it?
By that very brief description.
I feel like it's a very good description of the book. I
mean, it is, but I feel like it could describe a lot of books.
a lot of rom-coms, yeah. Sure.
Anyway, the book we read this week was Funny Story by Emily Henry. And it was interesting. Not my genre normally.
Yeah, not your go-to for sure. You don't do a lot of romance.
No. So not normally my genre.
I do lean to a lot of romance. But yeah, I think that she did a good job, and it definitely had its own kind of like cliche kind of twists to things, but it had her own like storytelling spin to it.
Yeah, I like her voice a lot. The wit in the book was awesome.
Yes.
So story starts out pretty devastating. Very devastating.
Yeah, as devastating as life choices go.
We have our main character, Daphne,
Vincent.
who just got dumped
Yes.
by her fiance.
Her fiance dumped her right after his bachelor party. So not only was it was like right before the wedding.
Yeah.
I think they only had like a month before the wedding was supposed to be.
It was coming up.
I guess it was good it wasn't at the altar. There's that.
Silver lining.
Silver lining.
He didn't make it all the way down the aisle before he dumped you, so.
Still devastating. But what makes it kind of like worse, I would say, is that not only did he dump her for another woman, but that other woman was his childhood best friend. And it's like they were already together for how long? Several years. They were together several years before they even got engaged. And she made no moves, he made no moves. And then all of a sudden, a month before they get married, they're like,
Yeah. And it was, of course, the story you hear, she's his best friend. They don't have feelings for each other. You don't have to worry about her, of course.
yeah.
And then a month before their wedding, he's like, we just randomly right now
She didn't realize
that she had feelings for me.
I didn't realize she had feelings with me until she was gonna lose me.
Yeah.
Lose you. Like, she's still gonna have your friendship. Like, what?
Oh.
Whatever. I thought that was BS, but
So Daphne gets dumped by Peter, her
ex-fiance.
fiance, for Petra, his childhood best friend. And she ends up, she meaning Daphne, moves in with Petra's now ex, Miles.
And Petra dumping Miles was so much worse because she literally took everything out of their apartment and left him a 2-line note on the coffee table.
Which is crazy.
Which is
I don't know, because like, is it worse because of the point they were in the relationship, meaning like literally about to get married, or is it worse because it was bad dumping?
Okay, that was a good point. I'm thinking about the dumping itself.
Okay,
like, at least Peter showed up and like
face to
face. And very helpful of him, had a whole outline of apartments she could rent because it was his house.
Very thoughtful.
So thoughtful.
He's a thoughtful king, okay? We love that for him.
He took the initiative. But then Petra, free spirit Petra, just moved all of her stuff out and left a note on the coffee table. It's just like, I'm leaving, gonna be with Peter, bye. I don't know if that was the note verbatim, but they just said it was like 2 sentences.
So we're imagining.
So I think the dumping itself, Petra's was worse. The circumstances, I agree with you. Right before the wedding.
Yeah, that's rough.
Because they already put so much money down.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was
Yeah.
like, all the money spent because a month away,
Yeah.
you've paid for the wedding. Like
Yeah.
you're there. You
Yeah.
have to have been fully paid up, and you're not getting all that back.
You already went dress shopping. You literally went and did this trip. Well, luckily, his parents paid for most of it, apparently.
That is true, except for
The
the
dress.
dress. All in all, it was a rough start out to this book. They
Yeah.
both just got dumped. So now they're roommates. Initially, they're just trying to cope, deal with.
Yeah, they're mostly just living together and giving each other space because they're both going through this hard breakup. And here enter my favorite part.
We started this book, and Miranda calls me very early on, and she was like, "Have you started it yet?" And she was like, "I need you to, and I need you to call me as soon as you realize the part that I'm saying." And I was like, "Okay."
Yes.
And instantly,
Friendship test.
yeah, ultimate friendship test. She said, "You'll know when it happens, and you got to call me." And so it's like
It's like in the first chapter.
first few pages of the book, and so I call her because
Daphne is in there and she's like, why is Miles listening to the same song over and over and over? And so she's like in there, she's like trying to get over a breakup, and she's like knocking on his door, and he's like, she goes, "Can you turn down the music?" And he goes, "I'm not playing any music." And she's like, "Well, then what is that song?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm watching TV, so I'm watching a movie. I'll turn it down." And then she's like, "Are you watching Bridget Jones's Diary?" Just rewinding that one part of Bridget Jones's Diary where she's like all by myself and she's just crying her heart out. And he's just imagining him just putting that on repeat, just that one clip. It had me rolling. And
because for those of you who don't know, besides me, Miranda loves Bridget Jones's Diary, and that is her guilty pleasure, her rom-com of choice. Growing up, I used to make fun of her about it. Again, I'm not a rom-com type, romance type, and so it was a whole thing, and so it was absolutely hilarious that so early on in this book, like that's the one that he's like rewinding over and over again. It was so relatable.
Yes, I was like, I'm in.
Locked in.
Locked in. This is it.
Yeah.
This book gets my full attention. I was like, good call into references there. Loved it.
I actually thought it was funny too. This really has nothing to do with the plot at all, and it's just my own selfish thing. But the date that the book starts on is my birthday. Also, it's like May 1st, blah, 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 blah. And
That's
so
awesome.
I thought that was hilarious. That's how it's all going down. They're kind of, again, keeping their distance. And then they slowly start talking a little bit more.
Yeah, they start actually communicating with each other, which is valid, for like I think for the first week, they're just like mopey, which do you?
Yeah.
And they get their wedding invitation, Petra's and Peter's wedding invitation, and that sparks them going out for that first time to meet Locker. And that's where they decide to
They get drunk.
They get drunk with their new friend Gil, a biker on his way with kittens to Las Vegas.
Very specific.
And they're devastated about like the announcement, and Petra and Peter are supposed to get married within like 2 months. And of course this like upsets Daphne and Miles, but Daphne especially because she's like, 2 months? We were engaged for 2 years.
And being that like they were literally about to get married and it's only going to be like a couple months later and you're marrying a completely different person is crazy. But also just honestly, the audacity to send them an invitation is wild.
Yes.
Because like
how are you going to invite your ex-fiance and your ex-boyfriend
that you'll just
dumped like 2 weeks ago
for each other to go get married? It's wild. I can't. It could never be me. And so they get drunk, and as you do when you're drinking, sometimes some not so great ideas pop into your head.
But not so great idea. What'd they do?
they ended up telling them they were coming together.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think that was a not so great. I thought that was a good idea. It was like brilliant. The execution of it was not that great. But what Miles was saying about making them sweat, so they decided to RSVP. They're like, we should do it. We should RSVP. And they're like, and Daphne was like, maybe they don't even care. That's why they invited us. He's like, no. We should make them sweat and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Also, I mean,
The revenge.
sure. And it's probably too, like, they meaning Peter and Petra, which awful alliteration for a couple. Sorry if your name is Peter and Petra. Anyway, they are probably sending out this invitation thinking that they're looking as like they
those like monogram stamps? It would be PP.
That's awful. Let's just take a whole other turn. But so they probably thought like they're being the bigger people by sending this invitation, thinking they're never gonna come, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like, I love the idea. I would do it. I'm just saying it's probably not the most healthy thing, is what I was getting at.
Listen,
But we're not here for that.
we're not here for that. It doesn't make a good story.
That's true. Like, just accepting it does not make a good story.
No. This isn't self-help. This is rom-com.
So they end up RSVPing,
Yes.
and the whole rest of the night is,
She doesn't even remember. She
I was
got
gonna
so
say,
drunk.
a bit of a blur
Yeah.
for them.
They got so drunk. The next morning, afternoon, she wakes up like at noon. She was saying she never does that. And Peter calls her, and he's like, hey. She goes, hi. Oh my God. Startled. What's up? How can I help you? And he's like, you don't have to come, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want you to be alone. And it's like,
And that was when she said, I'm not coming alone.
dug her heels in there.
She said, I'm going to fully commit to this now. He was like, what do you mean? And she ends up saying that her plus one,
Because she didn't mark down
didn't mark plus one. And she says because her date got his own invitation. And of course he's confused at first and then ultimately realizes she's coming with Miles.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. And he
Insinuates that the relationship isn't gonna last till their wedding.
Yeah, the guy who dumped me is gonna say my fake relationship isn't gonna last. Crazy,
Wild. Man, he is a piece of work, man. It's just wow.
Yeah, I thought too about all the stuff that he does throughout the book to like put her down in like a veiled way. I feel like it's always just like condescending, I think is the best way to put it.
I think he does that way more with Miles.
Yeah, and then I was gonna say, and the fact that he does that so much with Miles is kind of crazy because it's like you literally stole his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like, how are you
It's like,
in a position to be like,
and he does it out of concern for like looking out for Petra and Daphne. And like in that lens, but it's also like a backhanded comment.
yeah,
And it's so slimy and snaky. I hate it. But I also think as the story goes on, like you realize Daphne's like really toned herself down. And she's like, I said something to him, said things that I wouldn't have before. Like she really toned herself down to fit into his life. And I think he really liked that about her. And she is realizing that she didn't like how she fit herself into his life.
yeah. And I think it happened, it happened slowly and all at once. And it's like you fit into this other person's life and you realize like you have no life outside of them. And so that's another big thing that gets explored like throughout the book. As after this situation happens, now they're in this ruse together, and so they start becoming friends over it. They start bonding, hanging out, and essentially have, we'll call it a common enemy type of thing, and they're in the same position. And then not only that, she's talking about she's like wanting to leave because the place where they live, you know, is his house, his friends, his world, basically. And so she's planning to leave this whole time. And she realizes that she doesn't have like
A community
around her or anything that's like hers. So as her and Miles start developing a relationship and she starts finding more of herself, she also finds that in other areas. So big thing is she is a librarian, which I think is so cute.
Yeah.
I wish that could be my life. And she ends up finding some friendships.
Yes, through work. She is able to make friends all on her own.
Which she's gonna have to teach me how to do that.
Yes, she's a librarian, and her life outside of Peter, she's realizing is very boring. Like she doesn't have anything outside of that. And she moved there specifically for him. What I think is really beautiful about her and Miles's relationship is that Miles allows her to like explore her own character and like learning to be her own person outside of her relationship, and he like gives her that space to do that, and then also decides to give her tours of the city like once a week. I'm like, that's so cute.
Yeah, I think it's cute that he like shows her his world but doesn't expect her to be
Absorbed into it.
yeah, and that she has her own things outside of that, but he's so excited to like share stuff with her.
Yeah.
Instead of it being like
This is
all
what
about
we're
me.
gonna do.
Yeah.
This is what works best.
So at work, she ends up meeting a new friend.
This friend's always been there. They just decided to start being friends, which is I thought was pretty funny because she admits that she was intimidated by Ashley.
Yeah.
And I think Ashley's like 10 years older than she is.
Yeah.
She's a mom, I don't want to say freshly divorced, but like a divorce
Somewhat
within
new.
a year.
Yeah.
A year into
I
divorce.
don't know if it said it, but yeah, it's pretty new.
Yeah, and she has a kid, and she comes in upset that she's like, don't ever have mom friends because they cancel all the time. And Daphne's like, you're a mom.
She's like, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying, I know, we cancel all the time. And she's like, some self-possessed demon said, I'm free this tonight if you want to go out. And so it just happened by her them both just blurting out what their initial thoughts were, I thought. That's what I think was really cool. And they decide to go out for drinks randomly. They've been co-workers, and then they just decided to like, why not try it out? And they end up going to Cherry Hill, which is where Miles is a bartender, sommelier.
I don't know if he's a sommelier.
They made a reference to it that he like it's like a wine bar. Like
I think it's a winery.
it's a winery.
Yeah, and so he talks about the wine, but I think he's just a bartender there. I don't know that he's like
I don't think he's a sommelier. I think he's just a bartender.
Yeah.
I think they like jokingly referenced that he's a sommelier.
yeah.
But yeah, he's their, what did he say, food sourcer? That's how he has all those like connections into his own community.
Go out.
They go out, and I want to say impressed. Ashley is impressed by Daphne's into this club or this wine bar.
Yeah.
And Daphne is like, she's never had an in at one, and Miles is giving them like free samples of like different kinds of wines, and this is where they kind of start like talking outside of work. And she's like, how do you know Miles? And so then she eventually caves and like tells her
All the tea.
what happened in their relationship. And she's just like dying. She's like, this is so great. I love every minute of this. And she's like, I thought you were an FBI or like hidden, what is it called? A witness protection. And she's like, this is so much better than that.
Actually lives for the drama.
Their friendship starts to grow from there.
And so now Daphne is starting to gain traction with friends that are, you know, actual friends. Her and Miles are friends now fully. And I guess there's one instance that really sparks the start of like the potential for something more. And I feel like that was at the farmer's market situation.
Yeah.
As we were talking about food sources or something for the wine bar. And so he's in the community a lot, with local like farmers, things like that.
Mhm.
And he ends up taking Daphne on during one of his city
Sundays.
tours on Sunday to this farmer's market that he loves. And who was there?
Surprise, surprise. Peter. Peepees. Surprise, surprise. Bees. Peter's, they run into Peter. I don't think they mentioned Petra, but they run into Peter on
Oh,
their
I
way.
thought they were both there.
They only talked to Peter.
Oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe I just wanted her to be there to be upset. Anyway,
They saw him as they were leaving, and they were just had some fresh lavender lemonade, which I thought sounds
we
amazing,
should
right?
have lavender lemonade.
Missed opportunity. Next time.
So they see Peter.
They see Peter, and instead of what I thought was so funny in their internal monologue is like, if Daphne's like, oh, instead of just waving and we can go about our day, he decides to walk across the street to greet Miles and Daphne. And I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
That's awful. And so they end up kind of talking, and Peter inserts himself and is like, Daphne, can I talk to you alone for a minute? It's like, how just audacious to request that. You're her ex-fiance that you decided to dump, and she's with her new boyfriend, and you want to talk to her by herself. And I'm like, this dude is so full of it. And so Miles goes back to the truck. Peter tries to warn Daphne away from Miles, and says he doesn't even talk to his family anymore. He doesn't have a college degree. He has all these odd jobs. He can do so much better. And in this, Daphne's just getting more and more like enraged by him.
Because she's like, how dare you? Like,
Yeah.
he's a nice guy, and you were the one who was like an asshat to me.
Mm-hmm.
And
You're trying to put him down. Good for her for like calling him out on it. She's like, you know what? So good to hear from an ex to confirm that he is an asshat or something like that. And so she leaves, marches back to Miles.
and aggressively kisses him. Apparently, it was a little crazy, but I think it was just chaotic because she was just like, screw this guy. Yeah.
And she went in way too hard, and he was just like, oh, a chaste, beautiful, just kiss. And so he had to match her energy. So it's a little awkward. And by the time they're done with that, she's like, oh, I felt something.
Yeah. And that's where it begins, right? They both start thinking.
Mm-hmm. Oh. So I thought that was very cliche.
That was hilarious.
So very funny. The way Emily Henry wrote it was hilarious.
Yeah. Like I said, her wit and banter in this was really good. And
Yeah.
so I think it made like all these situations, like, yeah, they're pretty cliche and we see them a lot, this type of thing in a trope like this, but it was so funny. I was laughing so hard the whole time.
Yeah, she definitely has her own spin to it.
Yeah.
And it goes, I feel like not only is it a comedy level, but it also has like an in-depth like feeling. Like
Yeah.
she really touches into like the emotions around it. But then the way that she spins it into like a funny, witty, comedic way
Yeah.
is just so well balanced. It just makes it so good.
Yeah. So now they're in it. They both separately are like kind of thinking they want a little more, but of course they're not wanting to like push it, and they're in this weird situation of having lied about being together, and they're not really together, but they want to be together.
Live together.
They also live together. She's also thinking she's trying to leave, she's trying to move away, but now all of a sudden her life is
She's starting to make
building.
friends.
Yeah, she's making friends now. This whole thing with Miles, and the next big thing that happens is family starts to get involved.
Yes, which were the sister?
Yes. So next up we meet Julia, which is Miles' sister, and she comes in like a hurricane.
Her early 20s, and they're in their early 30s.
Yeah.
So it's a very there is an age difference, but I feel like your 20s are very different from your 30s. Being just looking back in history. Okay.
It's pretty significant whenever you're,
Yeah.
it's a whole different season of life for sure.
Yeah.
And she comes in pretty much unannounced, is like, hey, I'm literally here right
Literally
now.
unannounced. She's like, I'm in the airport. You need to come pick me
up.
up.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? What do you mean you're here? You didn't even tell me. And she's like,
Yeah.
you don't want me?
Yeah.
He's like, no, just warn me next time.
And they got the call during a spicy moment
Oh.
that they had at the apartment, right?
Yeah, they had pizza.
Yeah. And
with
things were escalating, and then he kept getting called by his sister, and that's what that's what simmered everything back down, and they're like, we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't do this, the whole thing.
Just take it to clear my head for a second. Got a little too hot and steamy.
So he ends up having to tell Daphne, like, my sister's here, I have to go get her, I'm really sorry, she's gonna be sleeping on our couch. And
He's like about to go or is trying to make sure she's okay. And she's like, hey, Miles. He's like, yeah. She's like, you're still out. Like, had to tuck himself in. Because he's just like, I was dying on this part because they're trying to like make sure they're okay, you know, with how they are right now. And he's like, I'm imagining him pacing around, talking to his sister, and he's just like, ow. And he's gonna leave to go pick her up, and she's like, you're still out. And he's like, oh, just all nonchalant, like it's just
totally normal
thing. And just like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna go pick up a few groceries since he's gonna go pick up his sister from the airport.
Yeah. She talks about how her mom, you know, growing up was essentially one woman show. Her dad was in and out of the picture. Her parents were not together, and so he was kind of just there whenever he...
Free spirit.
Yeah.
He's like one of those eccentric free spirit, something always better is around the corner. And her mother was very much the stable one, the one that was like there whenever she needed her.
Always taking care of things. So she talked about when he was going to get Julia from the airport, she just kicked into her like
hosting
mode, yeah, just like her mom. And so she went and got groceries and got everything ready and was fully like, yeah, like of course she can stay, all the things. And so now we're introducing families to each other, and that always makes things
a little
intense.
more complicated. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so she's wild, of course, crazy. She's doing her 20-whatever-year-old thing.
Shots.
Yeah.
You're like, I work in the morning.
I cannot recover
is
from
a
that. I need 3
Wednesday.
business days. Okay.
Yeah, she's like, I think Emily Henry described it, or not Emily Henry, but Daphne described it as she is a clumsy pit bull that just runs into everything, and Miles is more like I don't know what she called Miles, but I remember her talking specifically about Julia and how they're like being referenced as a dog, and I was like, love that, because I could totally see it, because they're just like bumbling and barreling and just knocking everything over, and that was like totally Julia.
Yeah.
In this very tiny 2-bedroom apartment.
Yeah. Her stuff is like everywhere. They talk about that. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is not the only family member
Yes.
we end up meeting. So speaking of Daphne's parents,
Yes.
she gets a random call one day. Julia's there. They're doing the things. They have the lie. They have the feelings. All this stuff is happening. She ends up getting a call from her dad confirming
Her address. And she's thinking he's just going to mail her something.
Yeah.
Because her dad's very flighty and doesn't plan well, and he just in and out whenever he wants. So she's always making accommodations for him. And she's like holding all these things, trying to get to the apartment. And she confirms the address, and she goes to the apartment. She's like trying to get in there, and who opens the door? Her father. She's like, what are you doing here? So she like talks to Miles, and she's like, you let him in? He's like, what am I supposed to do? He said it was your father. Do I just leave? He's like, oh, like, you should have told me. I don't know. So she's completely blindsided by his stop by, has popped by, and he wants to introduce his new beloved. You want to introduce her?
Her name is Starfire.
You think that was her birth name?
She is a character. She's something.
Yes.
She 100%, I think we both agreed on this, who would play her in a movie would be Jennifer Coolidge.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
She is like so out there, just saying
out
the most
there.
outlandish stuff, but just seems like so just happy to be there.
Yeah. Very much very eccentric. She talks about her psychic and how her psychic was telling her that her and Daphne's father have been married several times in past lifetime. And one of them, most significant, is the entire storyline of Titanic. She's like, so Titanic? She's like, what is that?
She says, so the plot of the movie, she's like, what movie?
My life? So she's just so clueless and just, I don't even know, just open to everything. She's like, we got you a gift based off of your aura, of course, because I've never met you. An aura of her, like, high school graduation photo.
I would not want to give off of my aura during that time. I'm just going to say that.
No, they do.
So this brings a whole other dynamic to the story, because now we have familial trauma happening that now both Daphne and Miles are dealing with, because he knows like something's going on with his sister. He's
worried about her when he's like tight-lipped about it. She's like, I'm just here for you. And he's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Using that as an excuse.
Yep. And he has a strained relationship with his parents. And so that's leading into some of that because of Julia being there, things like that. And then Daphne is kind of forced to face some of her issues that she had, feelings about like her dad and how he treated her growing up and being in and out and things like that, and trying to make sense of things that way.
Yeah. It's not that he treated her badly, but it was almost like neglectfully, or on how it affected her was he would show up and he'd want to spend time with her and make her feel like she was the only thing in his world and was like most important thing. And he could not keep that consistently. So he would just drop by for like a couple days and then leave for however long, and then say he's going to show up and then doesn't show up, and she's like waiting on him and trying to, and in her mind growing up, she's like, well, what can I do to make him want to stay or be around more?
So there's always something better.
And there's always something better. It's only a matter of time. So she has a really hard time of like self-worth and abandonment,
which then is escalated through the whole situation with Peter, and he chose somebody else over her. Literally like, left her over somebody else.
So my feelings around that were validated, is what you're saying. And then Miles has nearly the exact, I would say similar, but almost opposite, because with his family dynamic, he always had to be perfect. Otherwise, he'd get reprimanded by his mother. So, because it was all about how he needed to present himself and how he was a reflection on his mother. And if he reflected on her negatively, she would not treat him well. It didn't seem like physical abuse, maybe verbal. I don't think they touched more like a whole bunch into that, but like more like manipulation of like, how could you make me feel like, make me look that way? Like you're making me, like, is very narcissistic around that. So it's hard to see how they both drudge that up at the same time.
Which I guess, I mean, looking back now, like literally in this moment talking about this and about that narcissism, I mean, I guess that's kind of a reflection of his relationship with Petra. Yeah. It was all about her, right? Yeah. And then it was like, and then Peter is the reflection of Daphne's relationship with her dad, in the fact that like he's always looking for the other thing. He's always looking for something better. He wants what he can't have.
Making her fit into Peter's world, because she's thinking, if I fit myself into his world, he won't want to leave me because I will be a part of it, and she would be enough for that. And then with Miles and Petra, he's always trying to make her feel the best
Her
version
look
of,
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
of
And that was even brought out too. At one point, he talks about her family.
Mhm.
Kind of like it was funny because he always said like they're nice, but then like once Daphne heard some of the things that they were saying, it was like backhanded compliments
Yeah.
of like you're not making her look good and you can't give her everything that she deserves kind of thing,
Yeah.
which is the same thing that was like ultimately happening with his parents.
Which
Families.
exactly. And I think Emily Henry does a very beautiful job writing this into a rom-com. A lot of her books are like that. It touches into like the family dynamic and how it's reflecting in their relationships and how they learn the pattern and try to move past it. And
Which I
think
really
that's very
liked.
different
Yeah.
in a rom-com.
And I think that's why I liked this one a lot more than I tend to like romance or rom-coms in general, because I feel like we all have stuff with our family, like good, bad, otherwise. Like we are who we are.
We're people.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
grow up how we grow up, and it really reflects later in life, good, bad, or otherwise, for it, against it, whatever. But I thought it was really interesting because it didn't go like too in depth to where it makes the book heavy and you're talking about these really serious topics, but it's like it happens in everyday life, and like this is why they're acting like this in these situations and why they're with these other people who are treating them like that. So I did think that was really interesting, but it was still light and cute and romance and all the things.
So during their family stay, they're all in this tiny little apartment, which is wild. 2-bedroom apartment, two older, I don't even know, 50s, 60s year olds sleeping in the living room. And I just can't imagine that dynamic. They were together, all of them, in there for about a week to go to one of Daphne's child book readings that weekend. Miles and Julie are like, you should totally go because Daphne does the voices for all the children's books. Which, side note, in the books, they actually reference like real books, like Dragons Eat Tacos.
Yes,
I loved that.
I thought that was so funny because I was shopping for my nephew's birthday and I was like looking at books for him that he maybe like didn't have, and I saw the Dinosaurs Love Tacos one or whatever. Dragons Love Tacos, and I was like, that was just in that book.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was hilarious. I thought that was really funny.
She references like actual books in the book, which I thought is amazing. Yeah. The dad and Starfire are like, oh yeah, we'll totally go. And now Daphne's like trying not to look forward to or hold the expectation that her father's gonna go. And towards, lo and behold, something better comes along. He meets some random guy that owns a golf course and like some off of Nantucket and decides to go there. He's like, oh, I had to go because this, and that. And so he just ends up leaving, and to leave Miles to tell her that he's not going to show up. And of course, she tries not to feel a certain way about it, but it's hard not to. And she finds out about this right before her reading, and she's just, devastated. Tries not to be devastated, but it's hard not to be.
Because like obviously she knows who her dad is. And even though during this trip they had some like good moments, like for instance, the birthday dinner, she was like so scared because they all went out to this really nice dinner, and a lot of times her dad would like
order everything
and then not have money to pay, things like that, and that didn't happen this time. And so she then once again in her life is thinking like, oh, okay, like this time is going to be different. And then as soon as she kind of starts getting used to that idea, he lets her down again. And so it was really sad because that's, I think pretty normal.
Yeah.
To like, it and you don't want to be upset about it because you know that they're like this, but then it's hard. Like you still have feelings. Like,
Yeah.
So
you're still looking forward to it, even though you're trying not to. So this leaves them to that. And
during that time,
Julia decides to go back to Chicago to bring all her stuff because she decided to actually move to Michigan.
Without telling them.
It's
like, I'm going to get all my stuff packed up.
Yeah.
And so
she's gone. So this leaves time alone for Miles and Daphne. So they finally decide to consummate their
I hate that word. I don't know why. It sounds so corporate.
I don't know. I don't have any feelings around that word. I think it's a weird word to describe what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I
I-
guess there's weirder out there for
There-
sure,
yeah,
but I
there's-
don't know why. It just sounds so like corporate is the best way, I know. Or like clinical. I don't know.
I think of it like, because in Spanish there's consomé, which is like a type of food, and I'm like, this is weird.
I don't
It's
know. It
very
just doesn't
similar.
sound like it's supposed to describe what it is. Anyway, regardless.
I mean, it's a very nice version of that.
Yes, they end up doing the
PG
thing.
version of it. So they do that, and
Realize they like want to be together.
Yes.
They're in love, happy.
they're like, oh, even though we're like faking being in a relationship, we should try and whatever.
Yeah.
And so Daphne gets so enthralled with Julia and her dad and Starfire and then her new exploration with Miles. She totally forgets that she made plans with her new BFF, Ashley. And it's Ashley's birthday. She doesn't like doing birthdays. And Daphne like convinces her, like, we'll make it, it's not about milestones, it's about celebrating like you. It's not about what you've done in like over a year.
Yeah.
And so she gets Ashley all excited to celebrate her birthday, and they just have like a very small, I think they decided to paint a room and watch like the Real Housewives of whatever.
Yeah, they were gonna just be the two of them, but essentially like, that's what they were doing to celebrate. Yeah.
To celebrate her thing. And Daphne forgets about it, and she realizes she treated Ashley the exact same way her father's treating her. And she has a whole meltdown around it.
Did that happen because of like her dad and stuff, or was that because of Peter and the whole thing that happened?
A little bit of both. So
I couldn't remember like when it happened.
she was supposed to go do Ashley's room whenever they went to the beach on that boat. So Ashley couldn't get a hold of her because they were doing weekend stuff on that Saturday. They weren't on the boat with Julia and all of them. And they didn't show up the next day to the reading time, which devastated Daphne. And then Miles took Daphne to his secret spot on the beach. And I don't know if they did it there, if they went back home or something, but I think they went back home. And they did it. And then Miles was supposed to pick her up at work, and he didn't show up, and she didn't know why. She was worried that he got in a car accident, or he's just like, she was worried for his safety. And then, so she just decides to like walk home and, start working on getting rid of the wedding stuff. And while she's getting rid of the wedding stuff, because Miles isn't there, Peter shows up to the house, to the apartment, and she's like, she doesn't know that it's him. He's like knocking, and she's like, you can leave the Chinese takeout on the door. It's already been paid for. That's the tip. She's like, whatever. And he knocks again, and she's like, just leave it. And he's like, it's Peter. She's like, I almost said Peter who? Totally forgot about him. Good for her.
Yeah. That's what we want for her.
That's what we want for her.
No.
And so he shows up and he's like, hey, can I come in? And she's like, I guess. It's very specifically in the book, she leads him to the most uncomfortable chair in the living room and has him sit down, and she stands. And so he does his like spiel of what is it?
That he realizes that actually that they were wrong, him and Petra, and that he's in love with her, and they've broken up now, and all these things, and he was like wrong, and he's sorry because of course he is always looking for the thing that he doesn't have. He's looking elsewhere. There's always something coming that's going to be better. And so during this conversation, she of course is just like, you're an idiot, I'm over you, like done with it. And then he drops a pretty big bomb on her, which was that Miles was allegedly helping Petra move all her stuff like at that moment.
Yeah.
So then she realizes that he didn't pick her up from work because he's with Petra, and she's, of course, I feel like we're using the word devastated a lot, but she's heartbroken over it because they literally just decided to like
actually do the, like, make it real.
Yeah, to go forward with having a relationship and trying to be together. And it's like, and now he's leaving her for that, is how she feels. Like there's always something better. She's
Always
never
something
enough.
better.
And so thankfully she doesn't fall for, even though she's dealing with that, she doesn't fall for Peter's bullshit.
I also think like Peter said that just to like dig in. I feel like he always tries to like say the right thing where he's one upping or like leaving out just enough information to put the other person down.
Yeah, well, and it's like he was like saying, you know, you don't have anybody, like you should come back to me because he doesn't want you. Like he's with her too. Like it's not like you even have him. So why would you say?
I thought was super shitty because it's like, okay, Petra doesn't want either of them, so then now they want her. You know, it's like, okay, I'm Petra's leftovers.
Ew.
Yeah. Thickening.
And so that all was happening during the time whenever she forgot about Ashley. Or I think that happened like when the whole thing with her dad was like happening.
This is whenever Ashley was icing her out because she missed the birthday.
Yeah.
So she didn't have somebody to like go and talk to about it. Like she didn't do the Ashley thing because they were out on the boat with her dad and stuff.
Yeah.
So she didn't.
And then so all this stuff
is happening
and she doesn't have her friend anymore.
Yeah.
So she realizes, that she like treated Ashley in a way that was like
similar to her father, how he treats her. And so she decides to not deal with it the way her father deals with it and giving her gifts and not even apologizing. So she decides to take action and schemes up with their other colleague, Henry, where they do an impromptu poker night to get Ashley out of the house. And Daphne decides to go and paint her room, the color that Ashley wanted, which how she said was like a horrendous pink. So in my mind, I'm thinking like it's Pepto pink.
No, that would be awful.
Right? Ashley gets there. She's like, so what is this, penance? Like, it could be. And so she's like, if you hate it, like, I'll paint it back. You don't even have to be here. Like, I can do it whenever you're out. And so, like, she's truly trying to, like, do something.
Legitimately apologize and, like, show how she's sorry.
Yeah. And she says, like, if you don't want to forgive me, I understand. I did a really shitty thing. Ashley kind of, like, breaks down and it's like, okay, well, instead of, like, testing you on these things, like, I could have sent you a text message. I could have left you a voicemail, instead of just calling you and like hoping that you pick up.
And being like, just waiting for you to not show up and like
catch you in like your pattern. And she's like, you're human. This isn't your 400 and whatever mistake. This is like your first mistake. I'm going to hurt you. I don't want to, but it will happen. And she's like, you're kind of really important to me. And I don't want to end this friendship over like hurt feelings, essentially. And so she's like forgiving her. And I think this kind of like is the last straw for Daphne. And so she just starts word vomiting everything that's happened in the last 3 days between her father and Miles and Peter, and Miles lying to her about where he was, or like not lying to her, but not like whole truthing it. He's like, oh, I'm helping a friend. A friend needed me.
Oh, is that what he said? Okay,
Yeah.
I was trying to remember
She's
what
like,
he
"Where
said.
are
I
you?"
knew it was like not the full
he
truth.
goes, oh, something came up. A friend needed me. And she's like, a friend.
Oh.
They rekindle like their friendship in that moment, which I thought was super cute. And they decide to just get over it. And Ashley decides to leave the wall pink for a little while. It's good to be something ugly in here, I guess. And they decide to like watch Housewives or whatever. So from there, their big main event, the what is it, the readathon at the library is happening, and the whole time she's like waiting for this event to happen before she can leave.
Like all the chapters were leading up to how many days she had left until this readathon, because that was whenever she was going to be away.
Yeah. The readathon was so that the library can get money for other events throughout the year. And so it finally comes to place. They start working it and come to find out there's like a stomach bug outbreak, and a lot of the volunteers decide to like not show up because they're ill. And Ashley brings this to Daphne. Daphne's like, I can't handle it. So Ashley steps up and she's like, I'll handle it. Don't worry about it. You go handle all the other stuff. Like, I'll get the volunteers. She does. And it happens to be Miles and Julia. Because who else does she know? So they're there and like helping with the event, you know, being a volunteer, like handing out snacks and like setting up whatever. And while the readathon is happening, her father is calling her multiple times, and he's like, hey, just want to tell you good luck. And then she's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, your book thing, you know, the book thing. What? Your boyfriend was telling me. And she's like, what boyfriend? It's like, Peter? And she's like, no, the other one. And so this is where she realizes that Miles is trying to rekindle the friendship, trying to get her dad to apologize for just like dropping everything and like leaving and without telling her. And so she realizes that Miles is actually trying to like help her but didn't tell her about it. So she's like, oh, well, he's, you know, trying to do right by her by doing the actions like she did with Ashley. And so I like this part. She tells him off, the dad. She tells her dad off, and it's like, you know, I can't just show up here and expect all this and then just leave. Stop forcing her loved ones to make up for his failures, essentially. And I think this is the first time he's realizing it, like how it affects her.
Yeah, because she like lays it all out for like what it was like from her POV versus like what he thought. He thought that it was just like always good when he came into town. And it was fine, and didn't realize like how much him not being there or just taking off really affected her life until she like
decided
exploded.
Yeah, exactly. So during the readathon, they're like giving each other the eyes. Hey, how's it going? It's like, oh, you know, things are like awkward. But towards the end of the night, they decide to like have a little chat, and they decide to like start talking again to rekindle their newly found relationship. And she decides to get her own house or apartment, so they can actually give it a shot without putting so much pressure on it, because they're not only trying a new relationship, but
they're like already living together.
Yeah.
And so it put a lot of extra tension on the whole thing. So she ends up not leaving, getting a place. They end up starting again. She's given him another chance.
And
yeah, he explained all that he was like just trying to help her, and that he shouldn't have like lied and all the things. And again, like you said, it was like very mirroring of like the situation with Ashley, and realizing that like, hey, just because things happen, it doesn't also mean that it's the same as like past relationships, like with her dad.
it was one mistake versus
He's not him.
Yeah. So I thought that was really nice. And then at the very end, like I think it's like 200 and something. It's like a year later, whatever. And they find out that they ended up like buying a house together, which was kind of reminiscent of that pastel cottage that they walked by. And she's like, I'm not gonna rent that. I could never afford that.
Yeah.
So they decide to buy a house together that is like a fixer-upper version of that. And Julia and Ashley stop by, and it's for their housewarmings, and that's kind of how it ends. Like they end up moving back in together, and they ended up buying a home.
Yeah.
In Michigan.
And this is where she ended up putting down roots, and she was not leaving, and she actually found like herself and her life, and like
built her
things-
own community.
Yeah.
With and without Miles.
Yeah.
Which I thought was like a very well-rounded moment.
So cute.
Cute. So it was really good. I liked it. I like that they ended up giving each other another shot.
Yeah. So overall, thoughts on the book?
I really like Emily Henry's writing. I think this is one of the better ones of Emily Henry. I know this is one of her more popular ones, but for me, just between like the wit and the characters and some of the Bridget Jones diary parts. It was definitely 5 stars for me. Realistically, without like those parts, I'd say probably like a high 4, 4.5.
Yeah.
Because it is different. It does go in depth in those emotions. It's funny. It's it's a little cliche,
Yeah.
but it is a rom-com.
Yeah. I really liked it as well. I really like her writing. I haven't read anything else of hers yet. I really want to read Book Lovers, I think is
That's
the
my
next
second
one
favorite
I want to
one.
read. So I'm excited for that because, like I said, kind of in the beginning of this, romance or rom-coms are not my genre, but I still rated this an overall 4, which is really high for me
very
for
high.
rom-coms.
Yeah.
I was laughing the whole time. I thought it was really good. I really like that we got more information than just like the love story. We really got the backgrounds, and I feel like even the side characters, I feel like were really developed. Like we learned a lot about Ashley's past too, and why she was the way she was from her ex and things like that. And so I feel like the character development was so good, and I loved that they all just had like such a great personality. I thought it was hilarious. The Bridget Jones thing was just so funny because of you. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think her writing is really good, and so I'm definitely gonna give it another shot, which I do not do for romance writers. So I'm excited to read that one. Looking forward to that. Hopefully, maybe I finally found some rom-coms I can enjoy without being like. They just get so cringy, and I just don't. I don't feel like this was like that at all.
No.
I don't feel like there were moments where I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
this is just sickening.
It's not, I didn't have a single moment where it had like a cringe moment.
If it was
Kissing each other in front of Peter could have been a cringy moment, but it was written in a funny way.
Yeah.
So where it's like more funny and like realizing they're starting to catch feelings.
And like I feel like it was more like it was really meant to be cringy versus sometimes like I feel romance can just be cringy to read about it because you're just like reading about it and you're like that's not, but it was kind of supposed to be like an awkward moment, and so I feel like that's what made the difference for me.
They leaned into it.
Yeah. And so I thought it was really good. I'm, like I said, excited to read more of her stuff, and I'm glad I enjoyed it because I'm not gonna lie to you, when we gonna do this one, I was like, oh yes. But I'm also, I'm open to reading other genres. I went
point of the podcast.
I know. So I went into it with an open mind, and I'm glad I did because I did end up really enjoying it.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad that this was a happy surprise for you because I did know that you're not a very big romance reader, but the rom-coms. So I think the writing style was very good. The story engagement was throughout the entire thing. It had me hooked from the very beginning all the way through to the end of the
there
book.
wasn't really any moments where I was like, I mean, I'm sure there are things that could have been left out, but I didn't really feel like that in reading the story where I was like, oh, I would like that whole part was not necessary. And I didn't really feel bored at any moment. And so yeah, I thought it was a good pace, good engagement.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah. And definitely adding Emily Henry to the read TBR list.
To the rotation.
To the rotation.
To the never-ending list. That's a wrap on Funny Story.
Yes.
So we are now going to pick our next book out of the ew, that was an ugly laugh. That sounded like goofy. Out of the TBR jar, we're going to be picking our
You want to
next
shake her up?
book. Oh, shake it?
Shake
Well,
it.
you opened it, huh?
Well, just let's
This is going to be loud on the microwave.
Is it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I just imagine it being okay. I'll present it to you.
Oh, okay. I appreciate it. What is it gonna be? I got two. Okay. It's going to be The Great Alone.
Ooh, Kristen Hanna.
She is a good.
She kills me in the best way.
So next week we need to be prepared to be emotionally wrecked.
Yeah, as she does.
As she does. So complete
We're gonna
lady.
be happy about it. So join us here next Sunday.
Yes.
Watch us be sad. We're excited.
Yes, vibe with us every Sunday and be sure to subscribe to catch every moment of it with us.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Or do we say bye?
Oh, bye.
I was like,
We'll keep that in.